So here are a lot of the 1-gallon mango trees I've been working on. We've had 2 videos about this so far, and basically I want to graft varieties that we grow here that are not commonly available. Because, you know, if you fall in love with the fruit, if you can grow it, you want to grow it. And so 1-gallon trees are just the right amount of ambition for me, because we need a lot of them. There are at least 20 varieties that we grow that you just can't get the plants for anymore, at least commonly. So anyway, 2 weeks ago was our follow-up video, and so now we're doing a follow-up to the follow-up. But there's always something new to point out with these 1-gallon trees and grafting in general. There's always stuff that comes up. So I wanted to show you like a few things on most of these plants. Well, not most, but there's a lot. And almost all of these plants were grafted and then put outside in full sun. Now I have a whole nother group of 1-gallon mango trees that I grafted and then put in a screened area. And actually both groups seem to be doing very well. I was surprised with the full sun group doing so well because, you know, of course, the sun can get really hot and, you know, can be rather demanding on a plant. But it seems to be working out well. But I have tried to keep all of these plants well watered. So that seems to be very important. So let's get started with this. This first one, we had a graft up here that had started to push out some leaves right up here, and then it died. And so I went down further to the base, grafted again, and even though this from a distance looks sort of brownish, it's not. There, right here is the first bud coming out of this plant right here. But, so that's a good thing. What I just noticed was right on the T of Tess Pollack is a little bud coming out from the rootstock. Of course, we don't want that, so off it goes. And then also, because, well, I'm going to actually wait until this bud gets a little bigger, and then I will trim off this top part of the plant. That's going to be next time. So this is a plant we talked about, and it's the Cayley Cake graft. And the interesting thing here is that this is very dead. I mean, you know, it's really not good. But it seems like it might be green down here. At least it was last time when we were looking. So what I'm going to do now is take off the buddy tape and elastics. And I'm hoping that I can do that with this tool here. Normally I use a razor blade so that it's easy to not inflict damage on the plant. But we will see what's going on underneath all of this. If I can just get this bottom part of the elastic off, then it should all unravel. Where's a razor blade when you need one? I think I got it here. Okay, got it. So, here we go. We're unwrapping this elastic. And you see, right here, this is green still. And this part is very dead. And of course, this is the most important part, the part that is adhering to the plant. This is going to become, hopefully, the new growth of the plant. And actually, now that the elastic is off, let's see if we can catch the light. Right here looks to be a bud of the Kale EK. It's just above where we made the cut into the rootstock. You know, that one little flap on the bottom, right above that is a bud. But that bud is actually all we need to have a new plant. So right now it's not sort of limited by the elastic or the buddy tape. So I'm hoping that starts growing. This is sort of fun. This is a very new graft. I've been working on top working one of the plants in the front, mango tree of course, and I had a couple of scions left over, so I just stuck it on random rootstock, and it's growing already. This was fairly recent. I think it was about 10 days ago. Oh, here's one that's fun. It's not so fun when it doesn't take. That one did not take. This one didn't take. But the third time's the charm. Keep working my way down closer to the root. I don't want to have scars in the rootstock, but this is a gram, and it is very happy. It's got 2 buds forming. Why I chose the particular positions for the grafts, well, of course this one looks like it looked like a good point to grow into because there's a little bit of a curve in the rootstock here, so I could get a nice union without doing too much carving. And then I don't want to go into the same part of the rootstock in that same dimension, so I went to this other side, another curve, and that one didn't take either. And then on the bottom, it's still a different position. This side's coming out that way, that side, and then this one is right between the two. And there's a small curve here also. But anyway, very happy gram. Hope it stays happy. I did a couple of all or nothing grafts. Top cleft graft, and I didn't see any buds at all below that, and that one took, so yay. I actually did one of the top cleft grafts. I don't know if will be able to see it. I thought I marked it, but it was a fail with a top cleft, and I decided to go ahead and just not wait for it to produce any more leaves, the rootstock, and I just made another cut further down and put another piece of graft wood in. This is one that we're waiting on. This was definitely a fail for the Rosa, and it started sprouting out, so I thought I would wait until those leaves got a little bigger, and then I would use the rootstock further down. I think this was the Zillindo-Chinese that had just a small bud 2 weeks ago. It was looking very brown and still looks very brown, but this is the growth from that one little leaf bud that was peeking out there. This looks like another situation like the Kale EK. Right here, this is looking very dead. And down here, it looks like possibly green. So I think it's a good time to check that out, see if we can still hope that this will become a successful graft or not. The elastics, when they've been on a plant for a while, are easy to break usually. This particular graft was from the end of July, which is crazy. That's a long time ago. I'll try and get some of this buddy tapes off without injuring the plant. It does definitely look green here at the base. Now the big question is there a bud that will form? And even when there's not a bud, if under the right conditions, it can actually make a bud or make new growth from what you know, from an area that did not have a bud. But here we have, from this part up is dead. And then we have this bottom part here that seems to be alive. So it seems like a good thing to do right now is to cut this back, and hopefully if we keep watching the buds above the graft for, you know, make sure they don't sprout out, hopefully this will start growing. We'll just have to cross our fingers on that one. Let's see. Oh, this is one that is interesting because it's an older rootstock, and so of course it's thicker and there's a lot more roots involved, but we do have a successful graft on it. And what I've run into before in this situation is if I cut back the growth of the rootstock too quickly, a lot of times this graft, or the graft that's associated with it, will die. And so I am being very careful with this one. I have trimmed off some of the rootstock leaves, but today I'm going to trim a little bit more. Hopefully more energy will go to this scion, and it will become like big enough to survive. It's just a little bit more difficult with a potted plant. If this were a branch on a tree in the grove, it would be easy. Those always seem to live when I cut them back, but the ones in pots don't. And part of that could be the water, but I think it goes beyond that. So anyway, I'm just cutting this top part off. It seems to want to make more leaves and such, and so we'll just cut it back to these two smaller little stems, branches, and keep this well watered. Hope for the best. So let me think. One thing more. Yeah, here's another situation where the top graft failed, and this bottom one, even though it looks brown on this side, we've got a nice green bud coming out. So hopefully that will continue. Take the, we've got new leaves pushing out here. We really don't want them, so I'll just cut this back. Actually, I can cut this old graft off. There's just no way, this is suddenly going to become alive. It's just very crunchy, very dead. So we'll go right below that. Here's another situation that I get fooled with. There are certain varieties, and Dwarf Hawaiian is one of them, where it looks like it's not alive. Looks very black, sometimes brown, and yet in certain light you can see that there's green underneath the buddy tape. Now this particular scion was grafted the 28th of July. You know, it's a long time to be sitting around and doing nothing. But you see there's all these sprout outs on this plant. Gotta take them off. It's just, you know, all these new leaves, they take about 45 days to earn their keep. They're not supplying the plant with any energy right now. They are consumers of energy. So we'll just, I guess, cut this down to a more manageable size. We've got our, you know, 5.5 leaves, and then make sure that you take off all the new sprouts, because we don't want it sprouting out. We want all the energy to go here. But here, this side, you can see it's still green, and I have just made that mistake too many times where the lighting is bad and I just think it's not good anymore. But this one still has a lot of hope. It hasn't started to push out yet from the buddy tape, but green is good. So that's sort of a quick update on our 1 gallon trees, that the big grafting project that I have. And I just want to show you a little bit of the progress, and also, you know, how to keep an eye on your plants and make sure that you give the grafts the greatest chance for success.